Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to get on this morning, and I hope that each and every one of you is having a great start to your day so far. I feel very blessed and super grateful to get on here and share something, my friends, that can really help. If you are somebody who is struggling with your health in some way today, this information could change your life. Okay? And if there's somebody that you know and love that needs to hear this, feel free to share this live with them so that they can hop on, they can listen, they can ask questions. But my name is Troy. I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. I've lived here my entire life. I love it here. And I want you to listen closely, because for most people, this is the first time it has ever been explained correctly and clearly. And Steve-O, thank you so much. And as you tune into this live, if you wouldn't mind, drop your location in the chat. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Put your city, your state, your country. But Steve-O, thank you. Okay. Most people do not have a weight problem. Most people don't have a discipline problem or even a motivation problem. They have an insulin problem, and no one ever told them. Alabama. I love that. You know what's interesting is, and I don't know if you've been on my lives before, I feel like you have, but I'm going to be talking about simple things that people can do to improve and reverse insulin resistance, which is what 93% of us have. And my friend, her and her husband used to live here in Arizona. They lived in Tucson, Arizona. He was a financial advisor with me, and she was a rocket scientist. And now they live in Alabama. They live in Huntsville. And so thank you, Steve-O, for being on. I actually went to Alabama for the first time last year, and such a beautiful state. So why am I getting on here? I get on here every single day because I truly believe that what I'm sharing could impact your health in a positive way. If you feel tired after meals, right? You just ate a meal and 30 minutes later you're tired already. Or if you crave snacks when you've just eaten, if you're gaining weight and you're doing all the right things, okay? If your blood pressure or your cholesterol or your A1C continues to creep up, okay? This is not aging. This is not genetics. This is insulin resistance. And if any of that sounds like you, would you mind typing me in the chat? If any of that sounds like you, type me in the chat. Help me. Thank you, Steve-O, Natasha. Appreciate that. And let me say something that might challenge what you have been told, and maybe even what you believe. If calories were the real problem, dieting would have worked by now. And if it's working for you, awesome. I'm cheering you on. I'm supporting you. Okay? Like, this is why. Okay? If eating less fixed this, you would already be there. Now, I believe that for many years, that I just needed more discipline to be able to commit to what I was doing, right? More willpower, more control, right? But the reality is that our bodies will continue to push back. Have you ever felt like your body was fighting you? No matter what it is that you're trying to do everything right, and you just feel like you keep taking 2 steps back. And here's our problem. We were raised in the fat-free, calorie counting era, right? We were told to eat 3 meals a day and a snack 2 to 3 times throughout the day, right? We're snacking all day long. That is part of the reason why 93% of people are considered metabolically unfit. We were told to snack all day. We were told to avoid fat. And look where that got us. So, more fatigue, more inflammation. We are on more medications now than we ever have been. And Oro, thank you for letting me know. My heart goes out to you, and I'll keep you in my prayers. But here's the reality. What I'm teaching can help even that. And the advice didn't fail because people failed, right? It failed because it ignored hormones, right? Hormones is what controls a lot of things. And it's crazy to think that the advice that we were taught in the 90s, 1990s, that we should eat all the time, is part of the reason why we're so sick. So, you know, if you're struggling with your health, this information could change your life. And if you know somebody that you love and care about that needs to hear this, feel free to share this live with them so that they can hop on, they can listen, they can ask questions. Right? There are more people today that are on a medication than ever before. It's ridiculous. My dad was, passed away on Easter Sunday, 2017. And he passed away from something that could have been prevented. My brother, 21 years ago, he's 33 years old when he passed away. And I think about this. Folks, that's why I get on here every day. For most of my life, I was dealing with symptoms that I didn't understand. Amazing family, thank you. And no one ever explained the real connection. Now, I want to share my story with you. Okay? Back in November of 2014, I donated a kidney to my sister's husband, and I'm honored to have been able to do that. But it was 7 years later. Every year I was required to go and get my labs done to make sure that my one kidney was doing okay. And it was 7 years later when I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. And I was told that if I didn't lose weight, if I didn't change my diet, that I was going to end up on dialysis or worse. And I think about this. My doctor had given me medication that didn't work. It actually made me sick, but I was trusting the doctor's advice and continued to take it for 2.5 months, to where I just stopped taking it because I didn't like how it was making me feel. Folks, it was 2.5 years later when a dear friend of mine, who's a former rocket scientist, reached out to me and actually shared with me what insulin resistance was. And so I think about this. I learned what insulin resistance was. She taught me, I learned what fasting could do. I learned why it was so important for us to, have fiber. And I apologize for the noise in there. I have some cats that unfortunately are using the, I have a baby cat, or she's a kitten. She's like a year and a half, still acts like a kitten, that thinks it's a play pin, really. But the reality is that, I stopped taking these medications because it was making me worse. And when I finally learned and understood what insulin resistance was and how it affects your body, everything changed. I don't get why I'm having some weird individuals. Sorry, hold on a second, guys. And so, Musa, good morning. Okay. What I eventually learned was something called insulin resistance. I've never heard of it before. I would imagine that many of you have never heard of it before because your doctor typically is not going to talk to you about insulin resistance. They should. Your doctor should be talking to you about it all the time because it is the leading cause of our health issues. But doctors don't talk about it, right? They diagnose and they treat your symptoms. Doctors test what they can medicate. Nancy Nurse, good morning. How are you? And folks, I'm putting a form on here just in case. If you guys want to stay in contact, this is how. And question tall. I 100% agree, right? And Tasha, absolutely right. You know what's interesting is that there's 2 tests on humans that doctors will not perform. And it's your chronic inflammation and fasting insulin. It's interesting that doctors will test your glucose, right? And checking your glucose, folks, it's like having a basement in your home that looks dry on the surface, but is actually full of water. You could go to your doctor and your doctor could tell you that all of your labs are normal, but you don't feel normal, right? You're like, I feel sick, right? I'm doing everything right, and I feel like I'm taking 2 steps back. Number 1, you're not alone. Number 2, it's not your fault. Okay? The food industry kind of created this for us. But to have donated a kidney and to be told 7 years later that you have stage 4 kidney disease and that if you don't improve your health, lose weight, you're going to end up on dialysis, that scared me. That was my wake-up call. And my friend cared enough about me to teach me something that I never been taught before. And now I get the opportunity to teach people all over the world what insulin resistance is, and most importantly, what we can do about it. Folks, I think it's important for each and every one of you to understand why our A1C is high, why our cholesterol is high, why our blood pressure is high, why our HDL, our good cholesterol is down, right? I think it's important to understand how the body works, and most importantly, what can we do to start improving our health, our skin issues. How many of you have skin tags or psoriasis, right? Skin tags, if you ever see that on anybody's neck or, that's a sign of insulin resistance. And yes, you can go to the dermatologist and you can have them removed, but they are going to continue to come back until you fix the root cause. Skin issues, right? Skin tags can't be fixed with a dermatologist. You've got to address it at the root. How many of you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol? And when you go to your doctor, it's like your doctor just wants to put you on another S word, right? Statin, okay? How many of you have neuropathy or retinopathy, gout, GERD, IBS, vertigo, hypoglycemia, fibromyalgia? How many of you have diabetes? How many of you have excess belly FAT? Okay? These are all signs of insulin resistance. And far too often, we are just throwing medications at our symptoms instead of trying to fix the root cause. Folks, you guys realize that if let me say something here. What if instead of chasing the symptoms, okay, what if instead of chasing the symptoms, we tackled the one thing that's causing them all? That would make the most sense, right? But unfortunately, that is what is not happening in our healthcare system. And this is why I love getting on here and teaching this, because at the end of the day, people don't know what they don't know. Knowledge is power. And I think if anything, understanding what insulin resistance will help you to have better conversations with our doctors. We'll be asking the right questions. I would encourage you to go and ask your doctor what insulin resistance is. Your doctor won't have an answer for you. And here's something that surprised me. When people go to the doctor and cholesterol is elevated, medication is usually what's discussed first. Folks, there's millions and millions of people on lipid lowering medications. And for many people, they're helpful and maybe even necessary. But most people have no idea that they can improve their health naturally without the need for meds. But doctors are not going to teach you how to fix the root cause because that's their livelihood. Why would they teach you to stop taking medications that they make money when they make money when you use it? Okay, I hope that makes sense. And what I teach people is fasting, fiber, right? The importance of fiber. And what I do is I teach people on how to utilize the right proper tools. Now, the tool that I'm using and the tool that I share with people and that I teach people to use has been around for over 30 years. And not only has it been around for over 30 years, but it's guaranteed to work. Right? What I teach people to use often works better in many cases than the medications that are prescribed to you by your doctor. And by the way, your doctor can actually recommend this to you as a natural alternative. But why would they do that? There's no money in it for them. I hope that makes sense. Just a second. So I think about this, right? You know, my dad passed away on Easter Sunday 2017, and it's always hard when a family member or a loved one passes away from something that could have easily been prevented. Does that make sense? And Nancy, nurse, obviously you're a nurse. If you don't mind me, where are you guys tuning in from? If you can, let me know. And Kathy Sullivan, okay? I have right here, I have just pinned this. Feel free to fill out your information. I'm happy to stay in touch with you and connect with you afterwards if you have to go. So there's a form on the bottom left that, it's a short form to learn more and be able to stay in touch. Bowling Green, Kentucky. I love it. And how long have you been a nurse, Nancy? And Greener, 1964, thank you for the follow. Massachusetts. It's got to be awfully cold where you're at. Buddy Brickhouse, thank you. Since 1992, I love that. One of my really good friends, she actually she shares this as well, but her name is Janine, and she is a retired nurse. She was a nurse for 40 years. Nurse for 40 years. And what I love the most about what we do is that she says that she feels like she is making more, she makes more of an impact in people's life sharing this than she ever did as a nurse for 40 years. She was a nurse for 40 years. We have doctors and dietitians and surgeons. And Gary, how you doing, brother? We've got a lot of people that are on this live that are actually using this clinically proven system that helps to reverse insulin resistance. Most of you have never even heard of it. Most of you have no idea that it even exists. But a lot of you are dealing with medications like metformin, and maybe you're on an expensive weight loss med, right? That helps to boost your GLP-1, right? I'm sipping a chlorogenic tea that is loaded with theobromine and chlorogenic acid. This tea is unlike any yerba mate tea that you will ever drink, okay? By the way, yerba mate is not in the PDR, but this one is. Because of what it has done and continues to do for people literally all over the world. We have a solution to the biggest health problem in the world, okay? And the patients don't want to hear things from nurses. They love, you know what, Nancy? I remember, before my dad passed away, it was a couple years before he passed away, but he went into urgent care. He had an infection in one of his legs. And my mom took him to urgent care. It was the morning, and the day doctor said that he needed a hospital bed, but they were waiting for a bed to open up. And by the time the afternoon rolled around, the day doctor went home, and then the night doctor came on, and basically sent my dad home. And I remember as the nurse is literally wheeling my father out to our car, she said he really needs to go to a hospital. But because the doctor sent us home, my parents didn't think much of it. And then the very next day, okay, the infection went into both of his legs. It became septic, and then it became a laundry list of him going in and out of different facilities. And before we knew it, on dialysis, and then we took him off of dialysis, and a couple days later, he passed away. And so nurses spend more time with their patients. And Nurse Nancy, what I'm going to share with you, or Nancy Nurse, sorry, this system, we are the only company in the world that has two natural tools. They're made from plants and food that are listed in the same PDR. Now, Nancy, I know you know what the PDR is. Most other people might not know what it is. The PDR is called the Physician's Desk Reference, or now it's called the Prescriber's Digital Reference, but this is a source that doctors use when they prescribe meds. Okay? We are in the PDR. We're not a drug. We're not a medication. We are made from plants and food, but it is effective as the medications that doctors prescribe. And in some cases work even better. There's no side effects. There's no contraindication. Folks, you could be on 100 medications, and this tea and this fiber can actually help lower your total cholesterol. It can help to lower your triglycerides, your LDL. It improves your HDL. It lowers your A1C. It can improve your health in ways that medications can never touch. And most people don't know that it exists. And most doctors don't even know that it's even in the PDR, because doctors are trained to diagnose and treat, right? Far too often, folks, we are throwing medications at our symptoms, hoping that our issues are going to improve. But the reality is medications are not designed to fix the root cause. They are designed to manage your symptoms. And let me ask you this question. For those of you that have health issues, right, that are on medications, do you feel like the medications are fixing the root cause? Or do you think it's just managing your symptoms? You let me know. Now, yeah, let me know in the chat. Nancy Nurse, okay? So, Nancy, I would love to connect with you. I would love to connect with you for a couple reasons. Number one, you're a nurse. You have been for a long time. Folks, how many of you have ever heard of Rexall drugs, Rexall Pharmacy? Okay, Rexall used to be the biggest drugstore in the world. Okay, Rexall used to be the biggest drugstore in the world. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, the scientists and doctors created a blend of plant-based fibers. And they created this fiber for a couple reasons. Number one, our food industry is stripping fiber out of our food, right? And they're doing it on purpose, right? Right? I want you guys to think of something. When the shelf life of your food goes up, your lifespan and your blood sugar control goes down. When you and I eat food that has been stripped of the fiber, we eat more, okay? But Rexall, back in the late 80s, early 90s, created a blend of plant-based fibers. You can't get this fiber anywhere but the manufacturer that has it. But I want you guys to understand something. This particular fiber is unlike any fiber that you've ever had. This is the only clinically proven natural alternative to statin drugs. So for those of you that are on an actual statin that has a lot of side effects, it can cause a lot of damage. This does the same thing as the statin, but without any side effects. This is listed in the PDR. Nancy Nurse, it has been studied by the Cleveland Clinic, which is the #1 heart hospital in the world. Okay, the Cleveland Clinic, they studied 119 hyperlipidemia patients, and they gave half the fiber that was created by Rexall, and they gave the other half a placebo. And they told everybody to get off their meds because they wanted to make sure that this really worked. They wanted to find out if this actually did what it said it did. And their concluding statement, the #1 heart hospital in the world said that if people use this on a regular basis, it would decrease cardiovascular disease on a population basis, and it would decrease the need for lipid-lowering medications. That should have been made headline news around the world. But the reason why most of you don't know about it is because why would we teach you how to fix the root cause? If a doctor had 100 patients, and I'm not joking with this, you can try this, you can challenge me. If a doctor had 100 patients get on this system and use it for 90 days, that doctor would be looking for a new line of work in 90 days. This tea and this fiber, right, this chlorogenic tea that I'm sipping on is just as effective and often works better than metformin. It actually increases your body's own production of your own GLP-1. By the way, you can't give yourself a GLP-1. So as much as you think that these medications are actually helping you, they're really not, okay? The drugs are there to mimic what your body does. And this tea, when I sip on it, it helps to increase your body's own production of GLP-1 by 70%. Folks, we have more than 24 clinical studies. The Cleveland Clinic, the University of Sydney in Australia, they are the blood sugar experts of the world, by the way. It's been studied by Brigham Young University in Utah. It's been studied by the University of Utah, Stanford, UCLA, UNLV, Columbia University, the American Heart Association. Guys, these are institutions that you recognize. But far too often, all we are doing is throwing medications at our symptoms. It helps to improve insulin sensitivity. Sorrels, great question. Yes. Folks, the only thing that I've used since being diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease is this. I haven't changed my diet. I eat 1 to 2 meals a day. Nancy, nurse, you said, do they agree? What are you asking in regards to? This is the only thing that I've added to my daily routine. I've changed nothing else. I haven't changed what I eat. I will say this. There is a certain order that you should eat your food in. Oh, yes. The fiber has been studied by BYU, the University of Sydney, okay? For any one of you who has ever heard of the glycemic index, okay? The glycemic index is what basically tells you how food affects your blood sugar, okay? The University of Sydney, okay? They are the blood sugar experts of the world. They're the ones that came up with the glycemic index and the glycemic load. And they studied this. And here's what they did is they had people who were in the study eat 2 waffles with 2 tablespoons of maple syrup and a glass of orange juice. Now, we know when we eat carbs and sugars, it blows up our blood sugar, right? And this is why most of us have been taught that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So that's what we do. We start our meal with a bowl of loops of fruit. But what's interesting in this study that the University of Sydney did is that when people took this fiber before diving into that waffle and maple syrup and the orange juice, they had a 45% reduction in their glucose spike. And more importantly, a 70% reduction, or excuse me, a 60% reduction in their insulin spike. That's huge. See, when you and I start our day or start a meal with carbs and sugars, it completely blows up our blood sugar like a roller coaster. And now you and I are in that vicious cycle of being hungry all the time. We're tired all the time because that's what happens. You eat those foods, you spike your blood sugar, and your body releases a hormone called insulin. Insulin is not your friend, folks. It's not. Insulin is the gatekeeper to our cells. It is what allows our cells to open up, and our body will use it for energy. But what happens is when you and I are eating all day long, guess what we're doing? We are constantly keeping our insulin high. If you've ever wondered why you can't lose that extra weight, or why your energies are level or are low all the time, is because your insulin levels are high. we've got to lower your insulin. Fasting is one of the quickest ways to get your insulin under control. And yet, most people are often told that fasting is bad for you. It's actually not. Fasting is actually one of the best things that you can do to reset your gut, to reset your immune system. When you fast long enough, your body creates stem cells. Yes, the same thing that people spend thousands of dollars to get injected. Your body can produce it on its own. But most people don't know this. And folks, you don't have to believe me. What I love the most about what I'm teaching people is that if people decide that they want to try the same system that I've been using for 2 years, it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. So if you try it and you don't like it, you're like, this didn't help me. I didn't lose weight. Okay? Right? You have 90 days and you can try it. And if it doesn't work, you literally get your money back. You lose absolutely nothing. And even if you're on 1 or 10 or 100 meds, you can still take this. It's safe. Your doctor can actually look this up in the physician's desk reference. Now, here's why this is so important. Most of us are eating, right? Let me put this in the chat because I think this will put into perspective. This is, for the most part, kind of what's happening in our daily diet, right? Let's put this in here first, right? Because this is the root of today's health struggles, right? It's something called insulin resistance. And 93% of us have this, right? How many of you have diabetes or obesity or neuropathy or erectile dysfunction or PCOS? Okay. How many of you have migraines, Alzheimer's or dementia, right? Too much sugar in the brain of a child is ADHD. Too much sugar in the brain of an adult is Alzheimer's and dementia. Too much sugar in your joints is arthritis. Too much sugar in your teeth is cavities. You guys realize that all of these things are related to each other. And most of you are walking around being medicated. Okay? It's $5 a day. It's less than what you would spend at a coffee. And the idea here, let me explain how this works. When I wake up in the morning, I skip breakfast. And what I do is I take that money that I would have spent on breakfast and I invest it back into my health. It's $5 a day, folks. It's less than your snacks. It's less than food. It's less than your coffee that we get at Starbucks. And by the way, for those of you, if you have HSA or FSA, you can actually use that to purchase this. And folks, you don't have to use the system. I'm not telling you that you have to use this, but if you really want to improve your health, try it for 90 days because you literally have nothing to lose. And Nancy Nurse, type 2 diabetes, you can reverse that. My twin sister actually has the degenerative disc, right? Everything that you've just mentioned, Nancy, can be improved. I'm not joking. Like, this is why I love getting on these lives every day. Most people think that everything that's coming out of my mouth is too good to be true, but here's the reality. Why would these institutions do a study, and it's been tested and verified hundreds of times, and it works every single time? If you are consistent, it doesn't fail you. Here's the problem. Most of you are on medications, and medications are just managing your symptoms. How's that working out for you, folks? Because here's why this conversation matters. Over 93% of people in the United States are considered metabolically unhealthy. Nearly 3 out of 4 adults are overweight or obese. And more than half of those people, more than half of our country is diabetic or pre-diabetic. We're seeing these things increase in kids and teens, right? This isn't personal failure. It's a global problem, right? You notice how, you notice how the Bible tells you that no good tree bears bad fruit. Well, guess what? The fruit is high cholesterol. It's fatigue. It's blood cholesterol, blood pressure issues, right? All of these issues, hormone problems. But the root, which is insulin resistance, is something that we never really talk about. And if we never address the root, that fruit, those symptoms that you keep having, they're going to keep coming back. And they're going to keep coming back until you decide to fix the root cause. This is why I love talking about this. I want you to know that I love and appreciate the fact that my friend cared enough to share with me a simple system. And all she said was try it. She didn't force me to do it. I made the decision to try it. And now I've been on it for 2 years. Fadon, good morning. Could an apple rise the insulin? So what's great about apples, right? And unfortunately, a lot of the fruits and vegetables that we have here in the United States have been altered, right? Modified. But when you eat an apple with the pill, that pill is that fiber. Okay, that fiber, when we eat foods that have fiber, it helps to slow down and minimize the glucose spike. And it helps to minimize the insulin spike. Right? How many of you love grapes? For those of you that love grapes, that's not a healthy snack. In reality, I used to think that grapes were a healthy snack, but grapes are just a little sugar bomb. They completely, they will blow up your blood sugar, right? Because it's just a sugar bomb. That's all it is sugar. When you take an apple, right? When you take an apple, like what you see in here, and you juice it, we make apple juice. Well, how many of you love apple juice or orange juice? I used to drink it all the time. Now, what happens when you make apple juice is that you are stripping the fiber out of that apple. And now you are literally drinking straight up, it's sugar and water. And Nancy Nurse, my heart goes out to you. I have 3 siblings. We all have type 2. My brother was just in the hospital. Nancy Nurse, I had stage 4 kidney disease, and I reversed it using this. Fasting has become an important tool in my daily routine. I fast every day. I skip at least 1 meal every day. Most of the time I'm skipping breakfast and lunch. But folks, just try it. I know that it might sound mind-blowing, but your body actually runs better when you don't eat first thing in the morning. These corporations that are making millions of dollars and billions of dollars probably is what created this idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's not. Breaking your fast is the most important meal of the day, because that first meal that you eat, whether it's at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, that first meal is what sets the tone for everything else. If you guys have ever noticed that you start your day and you have a bagel with cream cheese and maybe a bowl of cereal, and you go to work and 30 minutes later you're just ready for a nap, that's the carbs and the sugar. That's the blood sugar high, and now you're getting the crash. And so what do? We eat more. Or we go and we make more coffee and we put more sugar and cream because that's what's going to wake us up. And 30 minutes later, you're in this vicious cycle all the time. And before you know it, you've literally eaten or drinking something all day long. Your body, your insulin is sky high. And when you go home, you have dinner, and then you have dessert, and then you're watching Homeland on Netflix, and now you're, eating snacks, popcorn, right? And now you go to bed. And now you don't sleep really well. You're waking up 2 to 3 times in the night to go to the bathroom, right? You're tossing and turning. Okay. Folks, this is what most people's experience is. But it doesn't have to be that way. It bothers me when I see people that I love and care about, and a doctor is just putting you on more medications. Medications should be the backup to the backup plan. It shouldn't be the primary plan. But unfortunately, most of us are just, we're listening to our doctor, and they're wearing the white coats, so we listen to them. They're a lot smarter than us, right? Or so we say. But I want you guys to understand that at the end of the day, you can improve your health without the need for meds or diets or feeling like you have to go and do 2 days at the gym. Nancy, I'm telling you, this system works. It has changed my life. It has changed millions of people's lives all over the world. It's amazing, and I want you guys to think hopefully you've been thinking about your own health, right? Whether you struggle with energy or weight, or whether you're struggling with cholesterol, blood pressure, or energy or crashes, okay? You're not alone. You're not broken. You can fix it. Fasting and fiber are two simple things that any one of you can start to do. There's no cost involved. These are just things that you just do. And if you're open to trying something that is listed in the PDR that is just as effective and often works better than the meds that doctors prescribed, then I hope that you'll consider using it. It is an absolute game changer, right? The fiber has been studied by the Cleveland Clinic, the University of Sydney. It feeds your gut microbiome. It helps to improve IBS and constipation, right? Skin issues, anxiety, depression. Fiber is one of the most powerful things, and we're not getting enough of it, right? There's a reason why the food industry has taken it out of our food, because that means that you are going to eat more and ultimately you're going to spend more money. Have you ever noticed that when you go to a restaurant, right, they bring you chips or bread to start your meal? They're not doing it because they're trying to be nice. They do it because they know that when you eat that bread or the chips and salsa, you're going to spend more money because you're going to eat more. Nancy, I sleep like a baby. I used to wake up at least 1 to 2 times every night to go to the bathroom. I sleep throughout the night. I love it. Jerry Lisa, thank you to those that are hitting the share button, the follow button. I appreciate you. This chlorogenic tea that I'm sipping on, it helps to increase your body's own natural production of GLP-1. I love this. It has changed my life. And I wish I knew about this 21 years ago. My dad and my brother would still be here. And folks, if this resonates with you, if this sounds like what you are looking for, and Nancy, I would imagine you're, as a nurse, you're on your feet for a long time. You need a lot more than 4 hours of sleep, right? This is why, I see a lot of nurses crushing cans of energy drinks and coffee, right? Sleep is so valuable, right? Because it allows your body to just heal. And if you're not getting, proper amount of sleep, oh, you're retired. I'd love to connect you with Janine. She's a retired nurse. She was a nurse for 40 years. She makes more of an impact helping people do this, folks, than she ever did as a nurse. So Nancy, if you're even open to the conversation, I would love to connect you with Janine. You both would have a lot in common because you're both nurse. Even though you're retired, she's retired too, but you're both still nurses, right? Folks, I'm telling you, I've only got a few more minutes because I've got to go to an appointment, but if this resonates with you, if this sounds like what you've been looking for, okay, the reality is that you can improve your health. I'm not saying that I'm not anti-doctor. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm anti-ignoring the root cause. Okay, most people have no idea that just by fasting and maybe skipping a meal here and there, and by increasing my fiber intake with my meals, taking fiber with my meals or before my meals, that you can actually start to lower these levels naturally on its own. And Mr. One Boston, right? Even people that are healthy, right? They're skinny, right? They have no health issues. You could still have skin issues. You could still have neuropathy, migraines. You could have, fatigue, exhaustion, right? How many of you are tired all the time? Linda, thank you for the follow. So if you are looking for a solution to the problems, you just found it. We have a solution to the biggest problem, okay? It does. And then your doctor puts you on another med because of the side effects, right? My mom, she's 85 years old. She lives in a memory care facility in Tennessee. She's on more than 24 medications. And it breaks my heart that she's on all of these meds. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. I am living proof that you can improve your health naturally. Tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have a referral opportunity, right? We have a lot of people that use the system, but then they actually join it and they start sharing it with people because of the impact that this is making. And we have a call tonight on Zoom. You guys are welcome to. In fact, if you are open and wanting to learn, I would love to share with you so that you can be on that tonight. My kidney function is fine. My migraines that I had for 23 years are gone. My acid reflux is gone. My kidney function is normal, which is incredible. And folks, it was 5 months after I was on the system. My nephrologist said, "Troy, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing what you're doing." Fadon, thank you. I appreciate you. You know, one of the biggest challenges that I think that people have is that insulin resistance is rarely tested directly, right? Doctors don't check your fasting insulin and they don't check chronic inflammation. Many people are told that their labs look normal, but insulin resistance silently is continuing in the background. And by the time someone is diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, you've had insulin resistance for 10 to 20 years. The good news is that you can fix it. That's the crazy part. And this conversation is not about avoiding doctors or medications. It's about supporting your body alongside what you might already be doing. But I'm telling you, medications are not the answer. Medications are designed to manage your symptoms. That's what they do, right? It's masking the symptoms. Okay. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Okay. Thank you to everyone who's been on this live tonight or this morning. I really do appreciate each and every one of you for hopping on this morning and spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. I love talking about this because this works. It's changing people's lives. And I think everybody has a right to know what you can do to start improving your health. And like I said, if this resonates with any one of you and sounds like what you've been looking for, you don't have to wait to fix your health. And if you're on the fence, the 90-day money-back guarantee should get you off the fence. There's no risk. It's $5 a day. Folks, you and I spend far more than $5 on snacks and food and coffee. $5 a day for the next 90 days is not a big deal. And folks, if there's people that you know and love and care about, partner up with me, right? I never thought in a million years that doing this would not only replace my full-time income, but the impact this is making in people's lives. I freaking love this. I wanted to go to pilot school. I wanted to be a police officer too. And I feel like I make more of an impact in people's lives sharing this than anything else. I'm grateful to be doing this. I'm honored, right, to have been able to donate a kidney. But what I love the most is his health is amazing. My health is amazing. You know, the frustrating part is that most people are treating symptoms instead of addressing the root cause. What I do is I teach you how to fix the root cause. Okay. Folks, I've got just a minute and I have to hop off. But I just want you guys to know that I love and appreciate each and every one of you for hopping on this morning. Okay. For those of you, okay, let me put this back in here. Okay. There's a form that you can fill out. And by the way, as I'm ending this live, okay, Nancy, specifically you, Nurse Nancy, okay, for those of you, please feel free to DM or to send me this. The information that I teach is on my TikTok page. I encourage everyone to watch the pinned videos that I have, okay? But feel free. I'm happy to send you the information. I wish somebody would have shared this with my parents a long time ago. I wish somebody would have shared this with my brother, who unfortunately took his own life when he was 33 years old, 21 years ago. Crazy to think that he would be 54 years old. It amazes me how many people are affected by these health issues. Folks, if you and I went to a family reunion, okay? If we went to a family reunion, you have both sides of the family there. You've got the aunts and the uncles, the cousins, the siblings, right? How many people there are affected by these health issues? Seriously. How many of those people there are on a medication? I've lost a lot of friends, unfortunately, to the C word, which by the way is caused by insulin resistance. And so when you fix insulin resistance, there's so many aspects of your health that will start to improve. This is why I do this. Folks, thank you so much for being on this live. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Nancy, I hope that you and I can jump on a call. Folks, if you want the information for that call tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, drop the word, send me a DM with reset or info, and I'll send you the details for the call tonight. But thank you so much for being on this morning. I love and appreciate you. You guys have an amazing rest of your day. And God bless you. I'll be on later tonight. God bless.